let me hear you say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lord, for one more day. You made the raindrops go away. Thank you 'cause my pain is gone. I know it came to make me strong. Thank you for another chance. Gave me joy, now I can dance.
All my people, open up your mouth and let me hear you say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is he worthy?
When I was lonely and I needed someone to hold me, you are beside me. When my nights got cold and lonely, whoa, you never let me down when no one else could be found. I always count on you to see me through. I'm telling you, you're the reason, Jesus, I'm alive and breathing.
Hallelujah.
For me, you gave your life, and now my life it has new meaning.
Listen.
Because of your grace, I can see your face. And when I do, there's just one thing I
Sing it with me.
gotta say. Thank you, Lord, for loving me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord, for keeping me.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you for that day you came and broke the chains and set me free. Thank you for another chance. Gave me joy, now I can
All
dance.
my people, open up your mouth and let me hear you say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord, for one more day. You made the raindrops go away. Thank you 'cause my pain is gone.
You did.
I know it came to make me strong. Thank you for another chance. Give me joy, now I can dance.
All my people, open up your mouth and let me hear you say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Let
you.
me hear you say.
All my children say,
Yeah,
all my babies say,
yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
all my kids say. That's right. Live, y'all. For a brand new day, I wanna for making a way out of no way, Lord.
9 o'clock.
Why choose when you can have everything? Your music plays here. You can't see me, but I'm really banging my head right now. Just love the music here.
Hey, go back to work.
This is
Magic 102.9 ABBA.
There is no water, electricity. In politics, women are marginalized, and
As the democratic space gets broader and political activities become more intense, with many Nigerians angling for relevance and agitating for their voices to be heard, Magic 2.9 ABBA has taken a giant leap by providing the needed platform that captures the essence of your individual, corporate, and most importantly, your political needs.
You see, the government is trying, but it's just this insecurity.
Yes, showcase your aspirations, opinions, and more as a politician, political party, government, community, organization, association, and more. Join Magic 102.9 FM ABBA on People and Politics, Mondays to Fridays at 9 a.m. For inquiries and participation, please call 0903-282-3717. People and Politics, providing the alternative voice within the democratic space.
It burst out that now the over 20 legislators that left the House, according to the Supreme Court, should return. And indeed, following that was the dissolution of the elected members of the local governments by the governor in a statewide broadcast. And then it has been the talking point in the last couple of hours, of course, since Friday. Now, with that River State, which direction is the Abuja power play doing the much that a lot of people thought, or it's just a legal thing? But again, this is a very serious matter if indeed we have to nurture this democracy. From the word go, we heard the word nascent over 20 years, and we thought by now we should have had a firm era.
And one of the hotter stories from the weekend, Senator Akpoti Uduaghan accusing the Senate President Godswill Akpabio of sexual harassment. All these have been posted on our Facebook page, facebook.com/magicfmng We're streaming live on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Magic FM Aba. Let's get a conversation going on those platforms at the right time. We'll get to read your comments. Thank you for joining us once again.
The Nigeria Labour Congress NLC has directed its partners to be on alert for mass action if the federal government implements the telecommunications services charge contrary to the terms agreed by the 10-man committee, to be hijacked by reactionary forces who do not present or represent the aspirations of the working people of Nigeria or the broader Nigerian people. Many things in one breath here, and I think the most important, apart from the political statement which borders on the hijacking of the party, and of course the party which is staggering as it were right now, we look at the core issue of tariff hike. I recall that in the case of telecoms in particular, a 10-man committee was set up, was given 2 weeks to bring a report which will be scrutinized, and then a final report coming, and then the providers were also told to step down
to 25%. Eventually, the government, all the stakeholders agreed and arrived at 30%. Only for the NLC to come out to say, okay, contrary to the 30% that we all agreed, we're hearing that the government has given the go-ahead to the telcos to implement the 50% agreement. So that is the gray area. But I'm beginning to agree with many Nigerians that the NLC today in 2025 is more or less a toothless bulldog that barks and barks and barks, but at the end of the day can no longer bite. Since Adams Oshomole left the Nigerian Labour Congress, they lost that vitality. Once upon a time, if NLC coughed, NLC in 2025 can make all the noise in the world, but their noise do not translate to something tangible. The reason why they have continued with this method, it is obvious that the government of the day is no longer scared or apprehensive of actions from the NLC.
Just this morning, I was forced to remember a word that I never knew about until last year, when a white man, they own the language, used it, kakistocracy. And if you check up the meaning of kakistocracy, particularly in the computers, I think it's not in the dictionary yet, but you can find it in the computers. It's when you have a group of people who are ruling, but the rulership is directionless. And then when the rulership is directionless, the people also follow them in that direction because they hold both the carrot and the stick. Now, what we have in Nigeria, I wonder if it is true. Anyway, boss, I meant to say, all right. So, we're not really having a democracy, but a situation where those who have been recognized by the people and constitutionally mandated to stand in the gap between the, quote and unquote, oppressor and the oppressed cannot, have their way without talking about the say yet. And in several folds, you begin to wonder. You talked about all the things that government promised that never worked, Ajero, but the federal government must be told that the people of Nigeria, yes, they are forced, and you can grab and run with it at the end of any election, particularly the presidential. But should it continue like this, if you look at what is happening around, it doesn't seem like we have a democracy yet, but a civil rule. If there is true democracy, people must be made to feel the impact of government. What you see, not this, what my friend would call, voodoo style of, governance. And we've seen that a lot. And what it means also is, Ben, as long as you're tied even to the apron string of a big man in government, you are a big man. And you can ride roughshod over everyone.
So you can print complimentary card.
That is what we see.
Friend to the driver of the Senate president.
Imagine. So that is what we see. But I hope all of this will change.
The civil servants by today, Monday.
Well, there's nothing anyone can do about that for now. It has hit the final bus stop. But we had at some point in this country when government chose not to respect the rulings of the Supreme Court under President Muhammadu Buhari. We don't know if that is going to happen again, but we also have at some time in this country when it was clear that the judiciary was being manipulated by the powers that be to take it in this country. They can change overnight too. It happened in Abia. Anyway, so a party that was not in any way attached to his party, the PDP, won the elections. Okay, I think AA won only two of the seats.
Okay.
And that's what APP he used, but AA, just like in Abia where, ZLP.
YPP.
ZLP won all
15
except two
That's
that
right.
went to YPP. So we did say that what happened in Abia was akin to what happened in Rivers. I remember now. All right. Yes, he has the prerogative of organizing the election, and who knows if Abuja will still control that. But again, beyond what is happening in Rivers, there is also the issue of defection of the State House of Assembly members.
State in the coming days, if the governor fails to comply by all the points or all the orders of the Supreme Court, they may not get allocation. But again, this wouldn't be the first time we're saying something like this. Bola Tinubu, as the governor of Lagos State, under Olusegun Obasanjo as the president, because of a similar political fallout, Obasanjo seized federal allocations to Lagos. But because Lagos was buoyant enough, that's what the law says. But we are not the judges. It is now left for the judges to take a look at the situation and make the appropriate pronouncement.
Well, just like in many other cases, I think the judiciary is holding a very fragile egg in his hands right now.
True.
The Rivers case is a very serious one, very dicey, and I think discerning Nigerians are watching. But we had instances like that before, where we thought the judiciary would stay above water, and it never did. And you could tell why. This one is a very serious one. Beyond that, before we go on break, is the issue of the tribal slant. The people of Rivers, those who felt they had never tasted power since 1999, see Fubara as their own. And it goes beyond Rivers.
That's
wherever
right.
you have Ijo,
True.
the entire Niger Delta, down to the Ijos in Ondo State, they feel like, why should it be their turn? From Andoni and then Ikwere all the way up.
And all our winnings start with a nutritious golden breakfast. Now, sit down. Please join us.
Yes, ma. At once. Breakfast is serious business. Handle it with the nutritious Golden Moon. Now with a great new look. Trust Golden Moon to help fuel your family to win every day. Golden Moon. Make every day golden.
Ma ị na-agbapụ ịgbanye ụgbọala ma ọ bụ na-agba egwu na agbamakwụkwọ ezigbo ọyị gị ma ọ bụ naanị gị na ndị enyi gị na-akpọrị ndụ Udenive Dry ga-eme gị mma. Enwere ya ugbu a n'obere mkpọ 25mm maka ọmarịcha ụmụ okorobịa na ụmụ agbọghọbịa ndị ma ihe a na-eme.
Hello, Mandewo. Achọrọ m inye driver ahụ ego gị ka o wetere gị ya na village.
Enyela onwe gị nsogbu nwa m. Ziga ya na akaụntụ Smart.
People and politics, providing the alternative voice within the democratic space.
All right, we're back. Still on River State, the fallout of that. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has commended the Supreme Court for his ruling on Friday, which annulled the recent local government elections in River State and recognized the legitimacy of the 27-member state assembly led by Martin Amewule. Wike, while speaking to journalists in Abuja after the court ruling, emphasized that the Supreme Court's verdict marked a significant. Most of his loyalists, who are those affected by the court pronouncement favorably, though, were in his house. And for the first time, I saw political traducers of the other end, singing gospel music. Oh, some were kneeling down, some were clenching their fists and punching the proverbial devil in the air. Devil, get out of my way. And then there was one who was leading, the gospel songs, and then, in fact, it's like it was rehearsed, which one can interpret to mean that, okay, they knew good things were coming, And the same people who sang gospel music in one breath immediately turned to political talk. And you know what I'm trying to say? Just like what happened in Lagos State House of Assembly recently, where it almost turned like an Ifa ceremony, where Miranda was being led left and right, and some people were chanting, typical Ifa Yoruba chant right behind her. Anyway, but that is the culture of impunity for all I care. All right? But again, it is not the end of it. Our good friend, and I think the good friend of many people, Fubara, would say, even if he was
forms in a state like Rivers, did Nyesom Wike allow fair play? That is the definition of impunity. He single-handedly ensured that no other person apart from his anointed candidates got the PDP governorship form in Rivers State. If that is not impunity, maybe Minister Nyesom Wike should tell me the definition of impunity. The only man who was bold enough and courageous enough to indicate interest to buy form was arrested by the police on the orders of Nyesom Wike. He was a member of the House of Representatives then, Farah Dagogo, that's his name. So the bad thing about impunity is, if you fail to condemn it today,
I'm using some political binoculars here, and I'm seeing a future that will not just be too good for, the few supporters of Wike and himself. Besides his being, popular now as a result of his being a minister of, the FCT. Why am I saying this? The larger Ijaw, and I think others who are not from, the upper rivers. And when I say the larger Ijaw, is across the 4 states or 5 of the South, if not 6. I'm also seeing some big political stakeholders in the persons of Amechi, Cornelius Omeha. I think that's his name. Oneha, by the way.
Omeha.
Even if I've forgotten the first name immediately. I look at the Odilis of this world. I look at Secondus. I look at other very strong individuals in Rivers politics innate for the Rivers people. And Rivers has gone beyond, particularly Port Harcourt and adjoining environments. They've gone beyond, just the land of the Ikweres and the Ijaws and all that. Rivers hosts Nigerians and foreigners as individuals and as corporate entities and all that. The reason the state is very buoyant. So let's see how far it will go, but we'll be watching.
Well, still from the law courts, the appeal court sitting in Lagos has rejected a request by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, to prevent public officials from seeking medical treatment abroad. Justice Polycarp Kwaha, who read the judgment on behalf of the 3-man panel of justice, the millions of poor citizens were allowed to die in ill-equipped local hospitals. He therefore said he would challenge the outcome at the Supreme Court.
Well, this issue has been on ground for as long as, I think, 15
Since
years.
2010.
2010, that's 15 years, right? Am I correct?
Well,
15 good
give
years.
or take, that's right.
Yes. So we may not, have the full details, and I mean the complete prayers by Falana. Yes, going abroad because you're a public official is not my problem, and I can explain it. If you're going abroad and you're spending your money, your salary, it's your choice that you want to do it in Zonkwa, or you want to do it in Kafanchan, or you want to go to Washington. That is not my problem. My problem is if, for the fact that you're a public official, there is no hospital for you to attend, even for the minor ailments that some people will run to the pharmacy, and then you have to take public money to go abroad. It tells you also about the judicial process in the country. Between then and now, so much of our millions must have been wasted on account of being a public official, and then you're going abroad, even for headache. The Senate president today, if you recall, had an accident at some point. He wasn't really hit, but of course his vehicle was hit, and he had to go abroad. Just to use that as an example, he wasn't a senator then; he was minister of Minister of Niger Delta Affairs. All right. And we have many more. And when we talk about public officials, it's not just the individual public official, their wives and children, and maybe their friends. I didn't say girlfriend though, I say friends, because your mouth was almost saying girl. All right. So on a serious note, we think that this is a matter that should be looked at.
Unfortunately, if you ask the question, who are the public officers? The judges and justices are also public officers. So you do not expect them to say otherwise. For me, what the man is simply asking, there's legitimacy in it. It's just like someone who wants to become a reverend father. You know, once you become a reverend father, the right to get married, you've automatically forfeited that. So the same thing, what Femi Falana wants is a situation where if you want to be a public officer, you must patronize locally made hospitals. You cannot be traveling overseas. Talk of going overseas. What is the state of our public hospitals? Take a look at Abia. How the general hospital in Aba, for instance, was allowed to deteriorate. How the teaching hospital, at a point, the only functional unit was the mortuary. It was that bad because doctors kept going on strike after strike because of their welfare. So I totally agree with Femi Falana. He should take this to the highest level, but I don't see anything coming out of this, because at the end of the day, the judges, the justices of the Supreme Court are also public officers who fly out for health checks and treatment. They go to the best hospitals in the world. You do not expect them to put a stop to what?
Paying for your children in school. There is so much that has to do with the welfare of the Nigerian. The talking point this morning being the issue of health. And I pray that Femi Falana, he will never give up. And to think that the senior advocate has his case, languishing in the drawers of the courts for 15 years.
Says a lot.
And if he goes to the Supreme Court, I have a feeling that it could be in another 10 years before the Supreme Court will talk about it. It is a pity, really, that we find ourselves, talking about this in the 21st century. All right, moving away from that now. Office of
local governments succeed in opening accounts with the Central Bank of Nigeria. I can bet you that the chairman would not control the money. We've seen states come up with laws. Go to Anambra, they have a law on local government. You come to Abia, they have a similar law. So what that means is that the local government chairman would sign that, hey, at the end of March, we collected 300 million naira. But guess what? The governors would say, okay, you have signed, bring the 300 million, let me see your proposal. What do you intend doing for this month? And the chairman will say, okay, I'll pay salary 5 million, I'll paint my office 2 million, that's 7 million, and 7 million naira will be given to the chairman. And the chairman cannot dare challenge the governor. The chairman who did in the past did not end well. Our friend Abu Dhabi is still fresh in our memory, how it ended for him. So until we address the issue of how local government chairmen emerge from the primaries to the proper election, we're just deceiving ourselves. Nothing would change.
I think we did recall at that time, and I remember saying that if it was going to be and all the proper processes were not put in place, it will go the way of other issues in Nigeria. Now we are seeing it clearly, and it has taken not just wanting to do it. It is very, very easy, and I don't know if that has to do again with the powers of the governor, because I've always heard about the powers of the governor.
Before Uncle.
Oh no! I beg, they should save us all this while. This is easy. All right.
Okay. Let's quickly rush through our last stories. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has accused the Senate President Godswill Akpabio of making sexual advances towards her during a visit to his residence in Akwa Ibom State. Speaking in an interview on Friday, the Kogi Central Senator recounted the alleged incident, which he said took place in December, a day before their birthdays. Akpoti-Uduaghan further alleged band later warned her against traveling alone or visiting the Senate President's residence. Let's take a listen.
People and politics, providing the alternative voice within the democratic space.
It all started on the
ordered sergeants at arms to remove her from the chamber after she resisted relocating to a new seat assigned to her, following the defection of 2 opposition senators to the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC).
Well, Ben, I don't know if I should speak Igidi or speak Akpa or speak Anang. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, na snake don't enter clay pot here. I'm sure you've heard that before. When the snake enters a clay pot, if you're not careful, you end up. I know that there is sometimes the cheapest line a woman can use to tame you, and that is talking about sexual harassment and all that, inappropriate behavior and all that stuff. Well, at this level is a serious matter, and I want to believe also that this must be part of the things that the committee in ethics, privileges and public petitions will be. It will be an addendum if it wasn't there already, because it wasn't there at that point. There's also the reaction from her husband, who is standing.
How come you did not make any complaint? You did not say anything until the Senate found you wanting. This time around, it wasn't an Akpabio that found her wanting, but the Senate as a house, including her female colleagues in the red chambers, actions despicable. They were not happy with the way she spoke and handled the sitting arrangements. For the avoidance of doubt, Senator, until she puts down in writing, that's what I'm saying, she ought to have made a formal complaint, but she never did. Even as we speak, the National Assembly is yet to get a petition from her.
But wait a minute, the issue of Madam Senate President's wife suing her, I don't know how you do you see any logic there? Because this is not directly
it's not directly, it's by her affiliation.
So you can sue by affiliation. Well, I do. Well, I'm not a lawyer.
She's defending her husband. If a woman could sue my husband for 103 billion naira, let me sue her for 250 billion naira.
Mr. Teacher, please, what happens when children come to school? How is it that they leave home very neat and return looking so different?
Non-stop action, ma. All the learning and sport.
Senator Natasha and the Senate President Akpabio did their panorama show of shame in our red chamber must be struck off, because women tell who they refuse their advance but refuse to mention who they agreed on. What if Natasha accepts? Would she be in our national interest? Mr. Fan Onyema, wake up, we had the love magic person. Thank you.
Minister of Niger Delta, where the same issue raised. So for me, the way then you were talking like even though what about the OT that time is right because of the because he's not complaining to the Senate. For me, I said that I supported Saraki. Let the Senate President step down. This is the international community. It's a very high embarrassment. It's very high embarrassment. So you cannot die it like that because of you did not complain the time that can happen because that one has gone. No, everything is the same, no matter how long. That's my contribution. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That is what I see there. That's my contribution. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you too for thanking us. You contradicted yourself in so many ways, and I want to believe you're listening. First of all, the issue of bringing Onea, Amechi, even Odili, is along the line, way into, the struggle that he started, having relationships with these people at that level, because they also had their own issues with Wike, by the way. And in every struggle, there is a leader, of which Wike is now. The issue of the camping is still in court. All other ones, yes, have been addressed, but the camping, that one is still in court. How it will be determined, we do not know. But again, in all struggles of this nature, people must take sides. And I think you've clearly
Ekapara, please, I want to comment on the issue of Senator Akpoti Uduaghan and the Senate President. Ever since I'm seeing this trending online, I'm ashamed of our leaders. People we call our representatives, and look at what they are offering Nigeria. That's the reason why nothing good is coming from them. Well, let's not forget that this is an allegation, okay? So be careful with your choice of words. Do not crucify anyone just yet. Uzoma Ogomezie from Ugirimbano. I think the NLC should just pipe low and allow Nigerians to suffer their suffering. What they are after for is their own stomach. Onowu the 10th, Fayoshe told him, Fubara, that he should avoid seeing spirits, but he refused to listen. Onyekachi Bernard Emmanuel, Gavo Sim Fubara failed to heed to the counsel of President's sexual harassment scandal is an embarrassment to the Red Chambers. Federal government should address the issue for peace to reign. Obago Emmanuel Isimba, if the accusation leveled against Senator Godswill Akpabio is true, his pride should not take the better part of him. Let him step down while the investigation goes on. Joseph Uzoma Nwogo, Senate President Godswill Akpabio Natasha's case sounds will never end in this nation. Okay, I guess you meant wonders will never end in this nation. Okay, Ibazu Chinedu Bright, on local government area chairman failure to provide account numbers. The allocation to the local government areas should be stopped until the needful is done. We know the governors are stopping the process. Chika Mwadima Sim started a fight too. She was with her husband the whole time. She has every right to bring Natasha down, and she will do it. Egon Good, the first day this news was said on this radio station, I told you guys that the Senate President is a womanizer, okay? But you people thought it was a joke. Adon King, okay, thank you. Ngozi Diana Rose, keep the good work, thank you for your kind words. You're wondering, talking about the Rivers matter, it makes me to wonder what will become of Wike when he finally retires from active politics. Stephen C. Achonwa, the way the Supreme Court's judgment was celebrated by Wike and co, it suggests that you not listen to Fashe. He should most unfortunately count his teeth, drying his tile, and keep a date with fate. I'm afraid and unhappy. Chief Achonwa Stephen, watching from London. Well, that's all the time we have to spend with you this morning. Okay, let's go back to the phone lines and take maybe one or two calls before we go. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Your name and location.
My name is Ojuana, calling from Aba.
Go ahead.
Please, I have two questions to ask. The first one is, after this Supreme Court judgment, those lawmakers that are with Fubara, are they still lawmakers after the judgment? And the second one is, now that the case, these defective lawmakers, their case is still in appeal court, and the Supreme Court has given judgment. What if the appeal court says that they are no longer the member?
with the carefully crafted from selected coffee beans. So whatever your hustle be, make you go from